It is a great honor to present Fredrick R. Honig, who is the co-founder and director of Wellbeing International, a nonprofit organization dedicated to individual and global peace, health, and harmony. Fredrick has been teaching stress management for the past 20 years at universities, resorts, and international conferences. His clarity and expertise in conveying practical techniques for stress management that are easy to implement into everyday living have brought him international acclaim. The participants of Fredrick's programs have found his warm approach to stress management to be both enjoyable and life transformational. Wellbeing International is grateful for the opportunity to present Letting Go of Stress and Enhancing Well-Being with Fredrick R. Honig.
We've all found that our lives are so busy and there's so many different varied responsibilities that we have to perform every day that it is easy for us to lose touch of our own inner peace, our own center, amidst all of the services that we perform on the planet. And it's very easy for us to feel anxious, worried, depressed, when our goal is to feel our inner peace, to be in harmony within ourselves, and to express that harmony in our service to the planet. So the first thing that I would offer in the name of stress management is the goal of having unending awareness of our inner peace under all circumstances. It's a great and noble undertaking, and it's what we all want. We all want to be happy in every situation. There's no one who doesn't want that. We all want to be optimally effective, optimally useful on this planet. But how is it that we're able to achieve that? How are we able to implement that noble goal? What I've taught, studied, and lived in these last 20 years is an understanding of peace and harmony that is reflective of a balanced lifestyle. And in this program, I share with you 12 strategies for letting go of stress. Okay, so let's begin. This is a wellness wheel. By keeping these 12 essential elements of our lives in balance, our wellness wheel rolls freely and our lives are harmonious and productive. These 12 strategies are diet, eating habits, exercise, posture, time management, positive self-talk, work satisfaction, financial security, relationship skills, creative self-expression, play, laughter and fun, peace and harmony. So first step is diet. Strategy 1. That's the fuel that we put into our bodies. It's of optimal importance in our ability to be healthy, strong, and relaxed. And all of science has concluded in the last even 5 years particularly that the optimal diet is with as low cholesterol as possible. more people in our culture die from heart disease than any other cause. It's the #1 killer in our culture, heart disease. And what causes the problem? Why is the heart in disease? It's because the arteries going to the heart become clogged, the main arteries. And what is it that clogs those arteries? It's cholesterol. And where does cholesterol come from? It comes from meat products. There's virtually no cholesterol in vegetarian products, in vegetables, or anything from the plant kingdom. And so if we want to optimize our health and minimize our risk for heart disease, the easiest and simplest way is to lower the intake of meat. And there are many ways to achieve that. I know for many people it's a challenge, and probably in your own life you've been working at that over these past years. And one way that some people do it is that they start by just eliminating meat first. They start with first eliminating red meats from their diet, and then after they've accomplished that rather well, then they work on eliminating poultry, and then eliminating fish. And Dr. Dean Ornish has done some of the most astounding studies showing that even the worst case of coronary heart diseases can be reversed, and the arteries can actually open up and become less clogged simply with a vegetarian diet, a pure vegetarian diet, with a little bit of relaxation, stress management, a little yoga, and affirmations. He's had very great success in that. And now the entire American Medical Association is rewriting its books to optimize vegetables. And many doctors really talk about it in kind of like, not really directly. And they'll say, well, avoid meats and eat as much vegetables as possible. But going really toward even a pure vegetarian diet is the optimal diet for our body. In fact, they've shown that even cancers, arthritis, are also linked to the amount of cholesterol in the system. And there's one other advantage that we could say too, and that's that for the ecology of the earth, it's very useful for the humanity to move toward a more vegetarian diet. And the reason is that so much land is required to raise cattle. Instead of putting hundreds of pounds into a cow to make 1 pound of meat, you could instead eat the 100 pounds of beans and soybeans and grains directly, and require so much less land to grow the cows on, or to graze the cows with. And in fact, they show that even the entire rainforests of the Amazon are being cut down mostly to graze cattle. So if we could move toward that, our own inner ecology is improved, and the outer ecology of the beautiful planet that we all want to preserve. A wonderful book of Dr. Dean Ornish's, which has been on the bestseller list for years, is Stress, Diet, and Your Heart. And I really suggest that you, if you are interested in learning more about this subject, take a look at that book. And also another good friend of ours is John Robbins, who has a Pulitzer Prize nominated book, Diet for a New America, that also shows the benefits of this optimal diet. Strategy 2, which is eating habits. Because whatever we eat is wonderful. It's important that we eat the right food, but that isn't enough. It's how we eat the food also. And here we come up with 5 points, okay? The first point is eating when you're hungry. because it's very important that we have hunger in order to digest well. And oftentimes, just because it's 12 noon, we stop and we have a meal. That meal may not even digest as well. In fact, it's one reason why most people, why there's such a large problem of being overweight in our culture, is because just by the time we go to eat, it's 12 o'clock, okay, I have to have lunch, whether I'm hungry or not. So check and see, how hungry am I? And just moderate our food intake according to the hunger. And they've shown that almost in many, many scientific experiments that almost every animal, and certainly humans do also, live longer by eating less. It's like when the body is a little on the thin side and even a little on the hungry side, it has the capacity to totally clean itself out. It's something like in your own day, in your own schedule, when you have so much work to do, it's pressing, you don't clean your closets. But by eating lightly sometimes, it leaves a time that the body doesn't have to be digesting all that food. It has plenty of time to go and heal itself. So that's one more important key for keeping the body radiantly healthy. And one thing I would just say in hearing all of this is that what I'm covering is many, many different areas, and certainly you would be familiar with many of these points. They're nothing new. But to remind ourselves and to reaffirm our intent to manifest these in our lives is really an important factor. So the second point under eating habits is to eat slowly and chew well. And one real trick for weight control is this. This is such an amazingly powerful trick because many people have a hard time losing weight and most diets really don't work. And here is a simple, easy way that is really guaranteed to lose weight. It's a little known fact that the message of satiation takes 20 minutes to get from the stomach to the brain. It's a chemical type of transfer of information. And that takes a good 20 minutes. And so because in our culture we have a tendency to eat so quickly, we sit down and we just shovel down the food, we would eat quite a lot in the time that it takes for 20 minutes to pass. So one trick of eating slower is this. When we take a bite of food, to be sure to completely chew that food very slowly and chew it well. Let it be totally liquid before we swallow it. But don't take another bite until you finish swallowing one. Because almost everyone, halfway through one biteful, will start on the next bite. We haven't even swallowed and we're already starting on the next bite. So if we just completely chew slowly, chew well, swallow, then take the next bite, it will take exactly twice as long to eat. So you'll be sitting there for 15, 20 minutes chewing, eating, and you'll think that you've eaten a lot, but you've actually eaten not that much, and there'll be plenty of time for the brain to get the message, oh boy, I've eaten enough. So it's the easiest way to control weight. The next step is strategy 3, is eat sitting down. Because our own concentration on how we're eating, what we're doing, helps the food to digest. It's been proven that just the awareness of what we're eating triggers the stomach to put out the correct enzymes. So if we're able to really know what we're eating by concentrating on the food, then we are able to digest it better. Good. And we can really enjoy the process than running and eating on the run. Most people, they eat on the run, they get indigestion, and then what? So take the time to eat well. Next is drinking plenty of water. It was said in the past even 8 glasses a day, but even 10 to 12 is better for drinking. Because drinking has a total way of purifying the body. If we drink a lot, the body is purified. It's also very good for the skin. Everyone wants their skin to look good and not to have too many wrinkles. The actual skin, by being hydrated well, optimizes its youthfulness. Also, a lot of toxins are eliminated from the skin when we have plenty of water. We can just lightly sweat that out. So it's a very good way of keeping the skin and the whole body flushed and pure. Drinking plenty of water. Strategy 5 is, under the eating habits, attitude of gratitude. And this I'll come back throughout the entire program, that it's very, very important the types of thoughts that we generate. But it's been proven that when you eat, if you eat with a peaceful, nurturing mindset, the food will digest better. It's been proven so, and it's virtually every culture in all recorded history has always had some type of meal prayer before the beginning of grace, before the beginning of a meal. And that's because it calms the mind. And in that peaceful state, the food will also digest better. Okay, so there we have, that concludes our strategy 2 of eating habits. And now we come to strategy 3, exercises. It's really important how we use the body. And the body needs to be exercised a little bit, especially in our culture. Naturally, we would have been getting a lot more exercise. And in our sedentary culture of dealing with cars and all, we need to supplement that by actually making sure that somehow or other we get a certain amount of exercise every day. Now, there are 3 types of exercises. First is stretching, second is cardiovascular, and third is muscle toning. All 3 are necessary, so it's important that we see that we do all 3 of them. And I'll start first by talking about cardiovascular. Cardiovascular is very, very important to the system. It's also very important to our mental state, because one of the main problems that we can get into mentally is a kind of depression. And depression is a kind of lethargy. And to wake up the body, to get the body pumping and going, is one of the most powerful ways to get out of any type of depression. There are many, many different levels of depression. From anything other than feeling joyful is a type of depression. We want our mental state to be joyful and beautiful throughout our lives. We want every moment of our lives to be happy. And in order to do that, we have to keep our minds toned and our bodies toned. And one of the optimal ways to keep that real zest in living is just to get 20 minutes of cardiovascular a day. It's so simple, but every hormone, every gland, every organ of the body is charged by that type of exercise. And I'll tell you one thing that's really important is make your exercise program fun. The big mistake that we make often is that we torture ourselves in the name of exercise, and then we don't want to do it, and then we just put it off. Oh God, this is too much trouble, I'm not going to do this. And then we get out of our routine. The only way that you can maintain a regular ongoing practice is that you have to love it. So figure out some type of exercise that you really enjoy doing. And it can be anything from walking, jogging, biking, rowing a boat, even treadmills. Even if you want to be inside the house, get one of those Norditracks or some kind of thing to get the body going. Get an exercise bicycle, involving as many of the muscle groups as you can. But what's been shown is that there's a very powerful chemical in the brain called endorphin. And the endorphins are released often through some kind of cardiovascular movement. There are many ways of getting the endorphins released. One way is just getting the old ticker pumping. And you'll see that most people who get into an exercise routine, when they're done with it, they feel exhilarated, they feel healthy, they feel peaceful, they feel the endorphins splashed out. Endorphins, when they're splashed out in the brain, it's released, you get this really high, happy, blissful, invigorated feeling. It's very important to get those endorphins splashed out, and one important way is the cardiovascular. Most types of narcotics mimic the endorphins. Whether it's cocaine, morphine, heroin, they all try to mimic that natural substance which is in our being, the endorphins. So naturally, we should learn how to keep the endorphins released so that we feel our blissful states. All right. So next we'll talk about stretching exercises. Stretching is important because we want to feel comfortable within this body. We want our body to feel at ease and peaceful and happy within it. We want to feel comfortable living within this body. And if the body gets too tight, we start feeling in our shoulders a tension, in our arms a tension. We can't move comfortably. We don't feel comfortable within the body. So to learn to stretch the body out makes us feel more relaxed. And it also has been shown that it actually makes the mind more open too. Like you'll see even in people, there's a correlation often between how relaxed and how open the body is and how relaxed the mind is. How open the mind is to different alternatives of life. So it's very important to keep the body relaxed. Also, there have been a lot of studies proving a very direct correlation to the health of the body with the flexibility of the spine. So to keep the spine flexible, and don't think that, oh, because you're getting older, you're not going to be flexible. It's not so. I've been teaching for 20 years yoga, and I've seen that some of the older peoples, even in their 70s, 80s, can be totally flexible, and young college kids can be totally tight. So learn to relax the body. And yoga is the greatest for that, I'll say. Yoga has so many wonderful benefits. One is that it just makes the body feel relaxed. Another is that it tones all of the internal glands and organs. Like when somebody else gives you a massage, it may relax the muscular system, but they won't give any kind of massage to all of the internal organs. And through yoga, every organ of the body is toned, stretched, squeezed, rubbed, and relaxed. And by doing that, it's cleaned out. It's something like all of the body are like tissues, are like sponges. Like if you have a dirty sponge, if you go under the sink and you keep squeezing the sponge under the water, it gets clean. And the body is like that too. You keep squeezing the body in different ways and stretching it in different ways. The old blood gets pushed out, new blood gets in as each part of the body is squeezed and harmonized. One other unique attribute is that yoga tones the glands. For instance, the thyroid gland, which is at the base of the throat. During the shoulder stand, we do a pose where all of the blood flows to that area, and we have the chin pressed into the base of the throat. So it really brings a lot of energy to that area. And it harmonizes the thyroid gland. And the thyroid is a very important gland for us to feel really in our power. Because when the thyroid is overactive, we feel very anxious and nervous, and we'll feel jittery. We won't even be able to sleep well at night. Overactive thyroid. And then when the thyroid is underactive, we feel lethargic. We don't have any energy. Everything feels too much to us. We get depressed. And it's impossible to feel blissful in that state. So to hold on to our peace, we have to have all of the chemistry of our body well balanced. And yoga is the best for that. And I'll give a little plug for my sister's tape. My sister Fredrick Honig has also been teaching yoga, stress management, diet, and meditation for 20 years. And she has one of the most wonderful videotapes available. It's even available in Blockbusters, called Yoga Feels Good. And it's one of the most brilliant classes in a total non-straining way. Anyone can do it from 8 years old to 88 years old. Can follow the simple, gentle poses to really invigorate the body and to give us our natural blissful feeling. yoga. So yoga is one of the best for stretching exercises. One of the best other ones is swimming. And swimming is probably the best of all types of exercises because swimming is totally non-injurious. When we do a lot of jogging, for instance, it might be a little bit difficult on the knees eventually. And even the spine gets slightly compressed by the jarring of the, almost like a hammering effect of jogging. But swimming is totally non-injurious. It also works every single muscle of the body if you do side stroke, backstroke, front crawl, breaststroke. If you just keep doing different types of strokes, you work every muscle of the body. Also, it helps to stretch out the spine. Yoga does that also, elongating the spine, which is important because over time the spine gets compressed, the discs get compressed, and then the nerves get slightly pinched. So just learning how to elongate the spine is very good. Another trick I'll give you for elongating the spine is just hanging. If you have a chin-up bar at home and you just hang a little bit, it pulls a traction in the spine, which is very good. Okay. Next we'll talk about muscle toning. Muscle toning is important too. Even to do some gentle types is good. Like for instance, a little bit of push-ups or a little bit of sit-ups or a little bit of chin-ups. Just something gentle in your home, you know, or at a gym is fine. And just to do a little bit keeps our muscles toned and in good shape because naturally we don't get that much exercise. So to do a little bit of muscle toning is wonderful. But I wouldn't say to overdo it. Like to get really large, huge muscles developed in the body hasn't been proven to be that healthful. And even any kind of exercise program should be done in moderation. They've even shown that Olympic athletes, for instance, who really put themselves to the nth, don't even have wouldn't even be as healthy or have perhaps as long a lifespan as someone who leads a more moderate lifestyle. So it's better, the middle path is really the best way. In stress management, I'll say that. Not going to extremes is the best. So in muscle toning, and do it in a comfortable, relaxed way. Okay, so the main thing I'll say in summary to exercise is find something you really love to do, really enjoy doing. And it's so wonderful. I would say the greatest is swimming. If you can, like, especially in nature, if you do some type of exercise in nature, and even alone in nature, that's the optimal. Because the body is recharged on many, many different levels that way. When you're alone, you have time to introspect, you have time to relax the mind, you have time to get in touch with your own inner being. So if you can combine your exercise program with being alone a little or being with friends, some kind of beautiful social setting is also nice. Make it pleasant for yourself. That's the real trick. Have a fun exercise experience and really look forward to it. Like make it a part of your day that you really enjoy. Okay, exercise. Strategy 4 is posture and body mechanics. It's wonderful to do exercises and it's wonderful to relax, but it's very important how we use our body throughout the day. That's when most of the time is. So it's very important that we take a check and see that our body is really relaxed throughout the day. For instance, many of us hold a lot of tension in our shoulders. And that takes a lot of energy to hold tension. Just, you could try yourself, just do an experiment. Make a fist for a moment, clench your right arm, and just keep it squeezed like that for a moment. And you see how much energy it's going into keeping that arm clenched. The same way we do that with whole muscle groups of our body. We keep them tight all day long, clenched. And that drains us of a tremendous amount of energy. It also has another negative effect, is that it impedes the natural flow of energy in the body, the circulation of the body. There's a type of photography called Kirlian photography that can actually photograph the aura of the body. There's an electromagnetic field that surrounds the body that is emanated from the life energy flowing through the body. And it's been shown that when there's tension, the whole energy flow to certain parts of the body is inhibited by the tension. When we can relax the body, the energy flows into that part of the body. And it's actually a main cause for illness, disease, and low energy is tension in the body. So to learn to relax the body throughout the day is the most important thing. And one key aid to that is Hatha Yoga, the yoga exercises, because after having stretched and relaxed every part of the body, we lie down on the ground and we go through each part of the body mentally, releasing more and more tension. And once we're just floating there, we learn to release tension in the mind also. And from that state, we can really feel the deep peace, which is our own essence, is peace. When we really feel our inner peace, we're really centered, we feel our total energy when the body and the mind are totally relaxed. And they go hand in hand. Like, it's very hard to talk about relaxation of the mind without talking about relaxation of the body, because it affects itself very much. When the body is very tensed and tight, the mind will be anxious. And when the body becomes very relaxed and easeful, the mind also relaxes and becomes easeful. They're totally part and parcel of each other. And so the main thing in the body mechanics is to take a check on your body many times a day and to see that it's really relaxed. And even the type of clothing that we wear, see that we're wearing clothing that's the right temperature, we're not overheating the body. Wearing loose clothing is very useful, because tight pants, for instance, and tight clothing restricts the energy flows in the body. And very important is also the belt. If the belt is too tight, it actually impedes even the breath, because as we inhale, the diaphragm sinks down into the abdominal cavity and causes the abdomen to expand and contract. So if we have the belt too tight, we won't be able to breathe freely. Another very important part in breathing is the position of the shoulders, because if we, in our normal American culture, we bring the shoulders forward, we kind of hide behind our shoulders. It's a very natural stance. But if we assume that posture, we actually can lose even 30% of our lung capacity. 30% less air means 30% less vitality, less energy in the system. So the simplest way to really keep the body radiantly healthy and the mind peak performance is just to keep the shoulders up and back. And the key to our proper posture is the lower back. If we have a little pillow wherever we're sitting that gives a slight support to the lumbar, the lower back area, the shoulders can naturally expand and the chest will be fully expanded. Let's do a little experiment. Just take a deep inhalation and slowly exhale. Make sure the shoulders are up and back so you really feel the whole full lung capacity. Inhale and slowly exhale, and even close the eyes for a moment to just do a few moments of deep breathing. And you'll feel by doing that deep breathing that the whole mind and body relax. Just enjoy the full, deep, slow inhalation and exhalation. It's one of the best and easiest stress reducers. Yeah. Doesn't it feel wonderful? Now, just by example, allow the shoulders to come forward. And you'll feel that in allowing them to come forward, you try to take a deep breath again. You don't even have to exaggerate, just shrug the way we normally do. We just, our normal slouchy posture. Take a deep inhalation. Do you see the difference? The easiest way to keep your mind and body energetic and your mind happy is to simply have a very positive posture. Positive posture makes positive minds. And even a lot of thoughts have been coming up with, oh, if people get depressed, why do people get depressed? One of the main reasons for depression is simply that we're oxygen starved. We don't have any energy because we're not breathing well. So that's why they say keep your chin up. Keep your chin up means keep your shoulders back. It's part and parcel of the same physiology. So it's an easy, wonderful way just to keep relaxed and happy and peaceful. And the important thing in life is keep happy throughout life. Like sometimes we think, oh, I'm going to be less stressed later in my day. I'm going to, when I get home, then I'll relax. Learn to learn to enjoy all of the challenges of life. You see, even here, the wind's coming up. That's a challenge. Life itself is full of challenges, and even in the most peaceful, idyllic setting, there are challenges. Learn to deal with challenges in your life. Learn to stay calm and peaceful, to adapt, to adjust, to accommodate, because there's no way in our lives that we'll ever find a situation that's free from challenge. It isn't the nature of life. The nature of life is unceasing opportunities for our growth. And the only way that we can grow and raise to the next level is through some challenge. It's like if you don't give a challenge to the muscle, it won't grow. Isn't exercise a challenge to the muscle? That's what it is. You push the muscle beyond its comfort zone and then it grows. And life is like that too. One challenge after the next. So while we allow the wind to slow down, we'll take a little break. And you could take a little break yourself. And if you like just now, even do a few moments of deep breathing. It's a wonderful way just to relax into your natural state. We'll close just with a few deep breaths. And thank you. Aloha. Welcome back to round 2. Okay, here we go. One thing I'll offer in the name of stress management is don't get stressed out even in de-stressing yourself. So this tape holds a lot of information, and we've divided it up into 3 sections. So we've just completed one large section with the diet, eating habits, posture, body mechanics, and now we're going to be doing the next section. But if it seems like you've already digested quite enough of your time, please don't hesitate to just wait for the next section. Like take a day, you could listen to this tomorrow, let it digest well. So see how you feel. Don't stress out in the name even of de-stressing. Important point. You see that? Don't get stressed out in the name of relaxing. Okay? Good. So now we're going to talk about time management. And one amazing factor in our lives is that we have so many areas of responsibility. It's really unfathomable how our lives are so complicated. And in order for us to keep some kind of easy, flowing, relaxing rhythm to our lives, we have to really choreograph it. It's like a dance. And I think it's not a solo dance. We dance in conjunction with so many other people, and we have to be on cue for that. So how is it that we can correlate all of our varied aspects of responsibility into a stress less as possible dance? No matter how good we do it, the dance is going to have its allegro movements, because that's part and parcel of life. There are times when we are going to have to really move quickly with full efficiency. And there are other times when we can have our little andante, the little slower movements, So how to flow with those different patterns is basically time management. There are 5 key elements to time management. The first is keeping a good day timer schedule. It's really important that we write down every area of our responsibility. And by writing that down, by taking the time to really choreograph our day, it's like building a building. If you want to build a building, to plan the building really augments the possibility of its successful completion, as well as making it logical and fun to do. So our lives are like that too. We have to plan them out. And to take the time to plan makes us able to live smarter and work easier. It's really true. It's really, really true. The amount of time that we put into planning our schedule comes back to us many-fold in the ease of its delivery. They say that even up to 20% of time can be spent in planning, but at least 10%. And the people who are leading that in the world today are the Japanese, who have shown that even 1 out of every 7 minutes can be used in planning. So between 10, 15, even 20% augments our ease of production. In keeping your daytimer schedule, try at least for the beginning to write every single aspect of your schedule in, everything, right? Every single aspect. Every job you have, every area of responsibility, everything put into your schedule. And the way that you do that is make a to-do list. It's the first step, okay? Is to make a complete to-do list, put down everything. And, you know, as soon as we do that, we feel a lot better, because one of the main reasons that we feel stressed in our lives is because we don't have any idea of what our priorities, what we have to do, or when it has to be done. And we have this uneasy, gnawing feeling, God, I have a lot of work to do, I better rush and get it all done. And we go around rushing through our lives in a kind of helter-skelter pattern. So keeping a schedule is important. That's number 1. Number 2 is blocking in obligation time. That means put in every area that you know you have to do, okay? I know I have to go to school these hours. I know I have to work these hours. I know I have to pick up the kids at the school. Then with number 3, block in your fun and exercise time. Because one of the main mistakes that we make in life is that we think, okay, I'm going to have my fun time when I get a little time to, when I'm done with all my work. But the reality is we never catch that. It never happens. Like everyone's lives are way too busy. No one ever gets completed with their to-do list. And then we never make time for ourselves. And the main investment that we have in life is ourselves. Like, what is it that we want? We want to be peaceful and happy throughout this. And by us investing the energy into ourselves, we become fit instruments to really serve the planet optimally. It's like, where does peace begin? Peace begins at home. Huh? It's all within us. If we want the world outside to be peaceful, we ourselves have to be peaceful. We generate peace in our lives by living peacefully. That's the real trick. Okay? So schedule in your fun and exercise time. Number 4 is prioritize. Okay? With your to-do list, assign an A, B, or C status to every single item in your to-do list. It's really important because then we know which ones to choose first. Then when you do your weekly schedule, you've blocked in your obligation time, you'll have some time left over. And in that scenario, just easily block in the time that's left for your to-do list in your schedule. One thing that I'll say of really, and even in doing it, block the priority A's first. And I'll tell you one thing that I have studied with so many successful people is the people who really are successful will often do the thing that they want to do least first. That's right. Here's a very, whatever happens in your life, it's very easy to put things off. That's the nature of life, huh? Like, we always put off the things that are the most difficult. And sometimes by just biting the bullet, getting it done, we really release a lot of tension from our lives. So instead of doing all of the low priorities first, think what really has to be done. What will give my life the most meaning? What will be the most service to my life? Huh? Think of that and do those items first, the priority A items. Now, one other very important thing is to keep plenty of transition time. Like, in our lives, we always think that happiness is something outside of ourselves. And that's why we really overbook our schedules. It's because we think, oh, I need to have this to be happy, I need to have that to be happy, and no matter what it takes, I'm going to achieve that. That's the American myth. It's like every commercial will make you think this. This is the only car that can make you happy. And without this car, you're not even a complete human being. You're never going to have a mate, a lasting relationship, a viable family without this car. This is what you need. No matter what happens in your life, get this car. American? And so because of that, we think, oh God, I need to do this. This is what's going to make me happy. Then we totally overbook our schedules. We become miserable and we'll never even enjoy the car if we have it. So we have to, our first priority when we talk about priority management, number 1 priority, you. Your first obligation, keep yourself peaceful, keep yourself happy, keep yourself radiant in all situations. Number 1 priority. And take whatever time it takes to maintain your own well-being. And one way to do that is keep your life simple. Like, in the name of our culture, we complicate it to the nth degree. Even in the name of vacation, sometimes it's more easeful to stay home and relax than to run around and take vacations. So many people I see here in Hawaii, they come to take vacations. And in the name of vacation, oh, I have to see Haleakala, I have to see Hana, I have to go here and there. They run all over the island. They're exhausted, they're fatigued, they're stressed out. And when they get home, they need a vacation to recover from this vacation. And what's the root cause of all of this, I tell you in a nutshell, is that we imagine that our happiness is something outside of ourselves. And we think that it's in achieving something that we're going to be happy. We ourselves are our own happiness. We are peace, joy. The nature of our very consciousness is peace, joy. The awareness of bliss is who we are if we don't disturb it. And the way we manage our time is the number 1 disturbance to our minds. If we totally overfill our schedules to the end, so that we don't have time to really enjoy the flowers, we don't have time to enjoy the ocean. We don't have the time to sit and enjoy the grass, or to enjoy our family, to enjoy being with ourselves, to live life in a flow that is meaningful to us. Instead, what we often do is we harry ourselves thinking, oh, I have to get this to make me happy. And then in the process of that, we disturb our own peace. And once our own peace is disturbed, even if we get those things, we won't enjoy it. So how do we get out of that? What is the way to get out of it? I'll tell you, easy is learn to enjoy your life. Keep your life in balance. And one thing I'll give a little plug for the next videotape that I hope that you'll all have the opportunity to get is a meditation videotape. Because all of stress management is more or less the foundation for giving us the experience of our own inner bliss, which we are. We ourselves are the awareness of bliss. Our deepest level is bliss. And all of stress management yields a balanced lifestyle that puts us in touch with that bliss. And to really be able to experience that and to dwell in our own inner reality, meditation is the final stages. So after this tape, letting go of stress, we have merging into bliss. So I hope that after having let your stress go, you'll take the next step also and attain the final goal. And what is the goal? The goal is being happy, peaceful, and centered in all situations, no matter what is happening in life. You yourself take your own power. We have that power. We are ourselves bliss. And often we blame it on the world outside. We say, oh, I'm not happy because my wife did this, my husband did this, my children did this, so I'm not happy. The world is having a war. That's why I'm not happy. You can be happy amidst everything. You are happiness itself. And by you being disturbed, you don't bring any good to anyone. Know that for a fact. The greatest good that you can do for the planet is you keep yourself peaceful. Keep yourself blissful. You be one sane cell on the Mother Earth planet. In her body, let there be one sane cell. Let that be you first. That's how you bring peace to the world. And when you're peaceful and happy, your natural outcome is service. Everyone who is peaceful will naturally want to share their joy with the world and serve and help in every way that they can. And all of the people who bring war and strife to the world are people who are hurting. They're people who are not in touch with their own peace. So when enough people are without peace, then the world outside is not peaceful. Okay, so in scheduling your time, in one big conclusion, make time for you. You're your first priority. You're your first responsibility, because everything that you're able to manifest in life comes from your own well-being. Take care of that first. Do whatever it takes to take care of that in your scheduling also. Work smart instead of hard. That means by really calculating what you're going to be doing, you'll see, oh, look, I had scheduled twice to go to town next week. Now I see a whole week in advance. I know that I can do those both at the same time. You'll see ahead, oh, look, next Thursday, I booked 2 things at the same time. If you want to know stress is when you book 2 things at one time, and the last minute you realize that one person is going to be unhappy or the other person. If you realize that a week or so in advance by your good scheduling, you'll have plenty of time to renegotiate one or the other. Make your life peaceful, make your life easeful, make your life useful. That's time management. Okay. Strategy number 6, affirmation and positive self-talk. Now we have the body healthy, we have our time managed well. The next most important area is how we use our minds. We may be nurturing to everyone else on the planet, but with our own self we may be very belligerent. Like we all talk about abuse. There's no abuse that we'll experience in life more than that which we dish upon ourselves through our own mental thoughts. For instance, in our daily lives, we may accomplish 100 things miraculously. And if you really think of your life, all that it takes to keep your life flowing, and even to make the time to be able to watch a videotape like this, so many details that you brilliantly and miraculously cover. But there'll be, every day, certainly there'll be 1 or 2 things that slip up. It's the part and parcel of life. And instead of acknowledging ourselves for the many brilliant aspects that we manifest in our lives, instead we beat ourselves over the head. Oh, you fool, look what you did. Look at this mistake you made. If only I could have done it like that. If only this had happened. It's a terrible abuse that we offer ourselves. And the greatest harm of that is that it lowers our own self-esteem. The most important thing in life is self-esteem. Like if we come from integrity, if we come from honesty, truth, and the desire to serve well, however we do, we should accept that. We've done our best in the situation. Certainly we didn't try to slip up on something, but every day we certainly will. It's rare that it doesn't, I'll say. And when that does happen, we should take it as a stepping stone to a future success. Because it's by making mistakes that we learn. Everyone learns that way. It's part and parcel of life. It's like the baby, how many times the baby would have fallen before it learned to walk. And we're all still children. Like even to think of ourselves always as, oh, I'm all grown up, something, we're all still children of the Mother Earth, learning and growing all our lives. So to be merciful to ourselves and to acknowledge our strong points is the best way that we can do to keep harmony in our minds. To speak to ourselves in a beautiful, loving manner. Like watch the type of thoughts that you have. And I come to a very important part now in the ability to maintain a positive self-talk. Is don't think yourself to be the mind. It's like we often make that mistake. We think, okay, I'm the mind and I'm the body. We identify totally with these instruments that we're using. If you think that you're the mind, you really lose your ability to control it. It's true. Because anything that's so close to you that you feel is you have a hard time to control it. It's like if you want to work on something, you have to have a little bit of a detachment from it. And the optimal way to attain that detachment is to realize that you are the consciousness of bliss. That's who you are. And you're the director of the mind. You're the user of the mind. And you control the mind. And you say to the mind, okay, look, I don't want you thinking like that. Think like this. And the little known fact is we have as much control over our mind as we do our right hand if we assert the mastery of it. The mind does not think without our permission to think, and it doesn't carry on in waves without us allowing it. So the most important thing to do is see that your mental dialogue, your inner dialogue with yourself is nurturing and positive, because as we think, so we become. As we think, so we become. It's the greatest truth ever acknowledged, and every science of mind agrees on that point. What rules our destiny is the types of thoughts that we have in our minds. Thoughts manifest as actions. Actions manifest as character. Character manifests as destiny. Our entire destiny, situation, and circumstances on this earth are determined by the types of thoughts that we generate in our minds. and to allow beautiful, positive, glorious, wonderful, harmonious, optimistic thoughts to generate yields beautiful, comfortable, healthy, auspicious, beautiful surroundings, circumstances. And the opposite is also true. Negative thoughts, fear, doubt, hate, anxiety, depression, yield negative effects. And you know, all of this psychology has been for thousands of years known and is expressed by every religion, by every science of mind. And now even the current science validates that point. For instance, when we feel anxious, as soon as we feel disturbed and anxious, our immune system drops even 40%. 40%. So by feeling anxious about something, we open ourselves up to the probability of catching some kind of cold or some kind of disease. The optimal way to keep the mind positive always is first, don't think that you're the mind. Be the driver of the mind. Direct the mind. Say, okay, I want you to think like this. When you see the mind worrying, you move it. Say, no, don't think like that, think like this. For instance, even this video, if we think, okay, this is going to be a great video, it's going to be a beautiful service to the planet, the weather, by God's grace, is going to somehow stay calm and centered, enough sun to have the right video aperture. If we think that way, it will be like that. We optimize our chance to actually achieve that. And on the other hand, if we think, oh God, there's going to be a big storm and nothing's going to work out, and I don't know if I'll really be able to have the thoughts and the wherewithal to present this, we allow that more likely to manifest. So keep the mind positive. And you may say, well, how can you do it? It sounds so easily said than done. How do you move your hand up or down? However you do that, you move the mind. Whatever force it is that does this. You just change it. The first way is you become aware of it. Just watch your mind. Almost like you would watch a movie. Watch it like that. No matter what season the mind is going through. Okay, now the mind is all depressed. Huh? If you say, okay, you know how minds are, they have temper tantrums even. Okay, oh, I'm unhappy, I didn't get this, this person got that, I didn't get this, look at me. When you see it getting in that, you say, oh, okay. You watch that without you being disturbed. You're not disturbed. The mind is disturbed. You're the peaceful observer of the mind being disturbed. That's how you control it, when you have that point of view. Then you say, okay, you just watch it. And you say, okay, you want to have a temper tantrum? Go ahead, have a temper tantrum. You let the mind go, ah, you let it go through its thing. You'll see very soon when it sees that you're not disturbed by that, it'll give that up. Almost like a child. You train the mind like a child. You say, okay, go ahead, have your temper tantrum. Are you tired of that? Here, why don't you do this instead? Give it something nice to do. For instance, when you want to train the mind not to have meat, all you have to do is have some delicious vegetarian food. When you have some wonderful, tasty vegetarian food, you'll get in the habit of that. See? So something like the mind, say it's like a child holding a knife. If you have a baby holding a knife in its hand, you have to get the knife away from the baby. You can't let the baby play with the knife. But if you try to yank the knife out of the baby's hand, it'll cry. So instead, you bring a rattle or a nice toy you give in the other hand, and you get the baby, oh, look at that nice toy. And once the baby starts looking at that nice toy, then you can easily slip the knife away. No problem whatsoever. The mind is like that. Give it something nice to do, and the negative will automatically slip away. Visualize what you want to manifest. Dream. This is what I want. Vividly imagine. Write down all of the things that you want. By writing it down, you have at least doubled your chances of attaining it. Write it down, see it, think of it, talk with people about it, go envision it. The more you think about it, the more you bring that into manifestation. When even if someone's having a health problem, instead of thinking, oh, my finger hurts, it hurts, there's something the matter with my finger, oh God, there's something the matter with my finger. Think, my finger is healthy, my finger is strong. Visualize the energy going to your finger, and that manifests it. It manifests the health. They've shown that with biofeedback, you can show that you can bring energy to any part of the body to heal it. So use your mind, use the power that you have, claim your birthright. Your birthright is the driver, the controller of your mind. Don't blame the world outside. Take charge of it, take control of your mind. And even when your mind is unhappy, be happy. I'll come to the furthest point in mind control. No matter what your mind is going through, learn to be happy. Enjoy your mind even being cloudy, like the weather here, it's almost always sunny. If we get unhappy when it's cloudy, it's not the fault of the sun. The sun is always there. So whether that you see the sun or not, feel your inner sun in all situations. Even when the mind is cloudy, laugh at it. Okay. Affirmations, positive self-talk. All right. Let's just take a few deep breaths, because it's a lot to understand and to feel. Just take a few deep breaths with the eyes closed. And affirm and recognize your power to control the mind. Feel how calm the mind is, how peaceful your own inner being is. And now we come to work satisfaction and outreach. It's very important that we love our job. Science has proven if you can ask one question to someone to see if they're going to be healthy and free from accidents, you ask this question. Do you love your job? Are you happy with your work? Is it fulfilling to you? If you can say yes to that, chances are you're going to be healthy and you're going to be free from accidents. It's a very, very important thing that we feel that our life has a value and that we're serving with our optimal gifts to the planet. There's a very deep part of our fulfillment on this planet in sharing with others. We all want that. We all, on a very deep level, want to leave the planet much more beautiful and fulfilled and in a better state for us having lived, to have a real meaning to our lives, that our life was a real service on this planet. And it's really important in thinking about our work to think about what type of work, what type of gifts do I have that I can share with the planet? What is my optimal good that I could do for the planet? And to try to work toward moving into that direction. Or even in your own work, you may already be established and working in a certain field. Think in that field, how can I optimize my service to the planet? What can I do with this field, with my expertise, to really impact the planet in the most wonderful way? And that gives us, like, the outer world is not that much different than the inner world. By us contributing to the outer world, we also contribute to our own well-being and vice versa. So learning to enjoy your work, and even to make the most meaningful, the most menial, so-called menial aspects of our work enjoyable is important. Because sometimes we say, well, I like this part of my life, my work, but I don't really like this part. It's fine to have preferences, and if you can, delegate the certain areas that you find less fulfilling. But if it's part and parcel of the job and of the work, learn to like every area of the responsibility. And you can see that you can really master areas that are even very so-called menial. For instance, doing the dishes at night, that might be part of our work. We have to clean up the dishes. Learn to really enjoy it. Do it as a meditation. Learn to play with the bubbles. Have some nice music playing. Have a beautiful picture or beautiful flowers, plants around your kitchen sink. So make every area of your work meaningful to you. And also, if you really do something with total skill, even if it's menial or so-called menial or simple, there's a great charge in that. Like you can see how quickly you can do something. Make it into a game for you as a challenge. The main thing to do is do what you love to do. Either change your job if you don't love what you're doing, or learn to love the thing that you're doing. So you have to do one or the other. Either adapt your job to make it really beautiful, fulfilling, or change the job. Yeah. It's important. Live your vision. Like, we all have dreams. Learn to move in the area of your dreams. Think, what is it that really nurtures me? What is it really that nurtures the planet? What is my optimal good? And move toward that. Thank you. We come to strategy 8, financial security. That's one area where people feel a lot of stress, and where we create in our lives a lot of stress, unfortunately. If we really serve with excellence, financial abundance comes to us, because the world rewards us for the excellence of our service. The main thing to do is to serve with excellence. Financial security follows. And whatever income that we are given, to live within the means of that income. If the United States government understood that, we wouldn't be in our huge deficit right now. We live in accordance with the income and not vice versa. It's through planning, the same way we plan our schedule, we plan our finances. I have so much money coming in per month, this much for rent, this much for this much for savings. Savings is also very important. We should always be saving at least 10% of our income going into savings. So for a rainy day, we have something to fall back on. That also gives us a lot of peace of mind and security. The main thing in expenditures is live your life as simply as possible. Like, it isn't by having so many expensive things that we're going to be happier. It's not so. We're happier simpler. If you have 20 rooms in your house, you have 20 rooms to deal with, 20 rooms to clean, 20 rooms to pay taxes on. Big responsibility, big botheration. Learn to live in a smaller, more comfortable space. Learn to enjoy the simple things in life. The more simple the things are, the more we enjoy them. To go swimming in the ocean is free. To go to a big amusement park is expensive. Even sometimes the most healthy foods are the ones that are less expensive even. You buy these very prepared, complicated foods, quiches, everything. It can be very expensive. Buy simple broccoli and tofu is less expensive, So living in accordance with our income will really generate a lot of peace of mind, and training that to the children too, because our whole commercial environment, from the moment kids, I need this to be happy, I need that to be happy, break free of those bonds. Claim your financial security. Take charge of that, and you'll see a lot of peace and a lot of reduction of stress from that. And this concludes our section 2 of this program. And again, if you like, you can just continue on with the program to section 3, or if you feel that's enough, just take a break and come back and see it tomorrow. Thank you, and aloha. Welcome back for round 3. Okay. I hope you're feeling more easeful and stress-free already. Okay. And now we're going to work on strategy number 9, which is communication and interpersonal relations skills. How we communicate with other people is one area that we often find stressful. It's one area in our lives that really has to be upgraded to a total science. And I'll give you the bottom line first. The bottom line is honor and pay respect to every person in the relationship. And talking with someone, see that you keep their self-worth growing. It's very, very important. Everyone's self-esteem is the motor with which they work. It's the power that gives them the confidence to deal with life. And it's very important in communicating with people, even our children, that we totally augment, reinforce, and enhance each other's self-esteem. And I don't mean that in the way of an egoistic way, like that we just flatter people. That everyone has their strengths, everyone has their powers, their beautiful attributes. And to learn to really respect and encourage the development of those is the highest form of communication. Now we may say, well, I want to do that, but sometimes these people are doing things and I have to correct them. And it may even be your responsibility, your job, to correct people in your work. And that's natural. How to balance those is the question. The trick to that is always first set your common goals together. You'll see that everyone has a common interactive goal in every situation. In a family, we want this family to work. We want to be a harmonious, unified, solid working unit. How can we keep ourselves as that? How can we attain that? So the first thing, even in correcting or coming to a dispute, say, look, we really love each other. We want to work this out. Our goal is to be harmonious. Our goal is to be productive. How can we as a team manifest what we want? See, instead of saying you did that, we bring ourselves together. Joining instead of separating is the key to communication. So first we say our joining points. These are the things that we have in common. These are all the areas that we agree upon. And sometimes we say, okay, well, I don't have time to say all that. If we don't have time to communicate with each other, our priorities are off. We should make a pact with each other like this. Whatever it takes, we're willing to communicate and to spend as much time as it takes until we both come to an accord that it's a win-win for both of us. That's the real key. We talk in terms of win-win in every interaction, from family to business to social. Our interaction should be a win for both of us. We should both feel invigorated, growing, nurtured by our interaction. So the question is how to communicate in those terms. Number one, bring the foundation of unity first. This is our common goal. Number two, state what people want, what they're doing right first. You say, look, these are all the areas that you're doing wonderfully in. Why not bring that same excellence into this area? Then you can state the area that you feel needs some improvement. If we could work on this together to make this even as good as all your other powerful points, what an incredible team we would have. So to communicate in those terms is the optimal way. And I'll tell you, in business management, the old type of management, I'm the boss, I told you what to do, you do it this way or leave it. That is gone forever. That's like it's like almost a vestige of slavery. No one is a slave anymore. We're all emancipated, free people, and the optimal way to get cooperation for our common goals is through cooperation, not through dictation. Make people understand why everything has to be done that way, why you're asking them to do it that way, what are the benefits for this, why you feel that this has to be done that way. And people will naturally want to respond. Everyone wants to be cooperative if their ego isn't pushed up. But if you say, look, I told you to do this, this is the way we're doing it, naturally the people's self-esteem will be challenged. And they won't, even if they go along with you in that way, behind your back or in some other way, they won't cooperate well. Or their whole zest and zeal in achieving the project for the common good will be undermined. The optimal communication is in harmony. And that's what we learned before in that positive self-talk, that positive affirmation. Our outer communication is only possible if we know how to communicate with ourselves that way. When we learn how to speak to ourselves beautifully and harmoniously within, we'll know how to communicate outward that way. Anger is totally counterproductive. I'll say that. It's much, much better to convince people than to try to get angry at them. And even if you do have to show sometimes like a strong word, don't yourself get angry about it. I'll come to one point further. Sometimes, even in a situation, if you have to appear, no, I'm sorry, this is a very firm decision, and this is how we're doing it. And even if you have to use a little force in that, don't you get upset by that. See, I come to 2 points. The first point is always try harmony. Always try to interact in that way. And even in a situation that might require a very firm hand, you've tried everything, discussing this and this, and you're in charge, and this is the way you've got to do it. Do it in as much a harmonious way as possible. And even if you have to use a firm hand, you yourself keep peaceful throughout it. Okay? Communication skill. The love that we feel for ourselves is the love that we generate for other people. And every interaction has to be a win for both parties. So think, how is the other person benefited by my interaction with them? And try to, throughout your day, every moment, like when you go to the checkout counter, for instance, try to be a plus in that checkout counter person's day. Like when you go there, try to make them feel happy for your having come through there. That's the ultimate thing. Every day in every interaction that you have, see that everyone is happy to interact with you. Make every single interaction a high point in everyone's day. So when people come and see you, they're really happy that you're there. And they know that you have their welfare in mind in your interaction. That's the ultimate way. When everyone feels that we're concerned for them as well as for ourselves and as well as for the project, we really communicate optimally. Another thing that I'll say in the name of communication is it's very important to clearly define our responsibilities with each other. A lot of stress comes in the area of, well, I thought you were going to do this and I thought it wasn't clearly defined. And especially an employer-employee relationship, it's good to write out every single detail of your understanding. Like, I'm expecting the dress to be like this, I'm expecting you to be on time at this hour, I'm expecting you to be this many days here. Every aspect, the more that we're able to put in writing and agree with each other, the less room there is for different types of conflicts to be coming up later. And even in our interaction with the family, like if we're having a problem with a child and the child's not living up to a certain par of behavior code, we can make some kind of decision. Okay, look, I'll take you to the movie if you do your homework 1 hour a day for 3 days in a row. I'll take you to the movies. So you give a little treat like that. It's good. That's called the carrot. Or you can also use the stick. There's no harm. The carrot is much better than the stick, though. But if you have to, you would say, okay, I'm sorry, if you can't do these 3 things, then you're not going to be able to get this. You know, I won't give you your allowance or something like that, too. Sometimes you have to train that way, too. There's no harm in it. Try the carrot first. If the carrot doesn't work, make some kind of penalty for the behavior. But get the person to agree on it. Like the child, you say, look, you see why this is for your benefit to do your homework. You see why it's necessary. Now I want you to make the time. We're going to make the time. You're going to do that. And this is going to be the benefit to you. If you do it, this is the penalty if you don't do it. Clearly define it. That also takes a lot of ambiguity out of a situation that causes stress. The main thing in summarizing all interactions is think of the welfare of both parties. Communicate in terms of win and win. So it's a win for you, it's a win for the other person. And keep your balance in all communications. Keep peaceful amidst everything. Thank you, and aloha. Okay, welcome for strategy 10, which is a really fun one, which is continuing education, personal growth, and creative self-expression. In a way, as we let go of our stress, we come more in touch with our own creative self. Each one of us is a genius within, the same genius that is expressing itself as all of the great artists, musicians, scientists, is also within us. And as we relax more and more, that creative self comes out more and more. And to give channels for that to manifest in our lives is greatly fulfilling. We all want to be of optimal service to the planet, and to think of the different ways that we can perform that through different channels is really a wonderful way to expand ourselves in different ways. For instance, music. Even if you have never done any music in the past, just to take a few moments and get a keyboard and start playing with the keyboard and start learning, you can open up a whole new area of your being. So because the main thing in life is we have to keep growing. You see all of the trees and all of the plants here. They're always growing and growing, and because of that they're alive. And just to stay still is to die. The nature of life is to expand, to grow, to flower. And our lives from the moment to the very end have to be continuous upward spiral in our lives in many different arenas, so that we don't get boxed in, okay, well, I do this is the only thing I can do. This is my job. I don't know about other things. Expand our horizons to encompass more. It's a wonderful, fulfilling way to enjoy life, and to be of optimal service to the planet also. One way to do that is to learn from every experience in life. Be the constant student of life. The entire universe is the university. We can learn from everything. Everything teaches us profound lessons, especially from nature. You can learn every secret from just watching a plant growing, from watching a bird flying, from watching a squirrel gathering acorns. Teaches us about savings plans. All of life is a beautiful university if we keep our minds and beings open to embrace it. And every experience in our life is in a way there for our either our enjoyment or our growth. One of the real ways that we can let go of stress in our lives is by learning to accept the present moment, in every present moment. So much of our lives are occupied in dreaming about the past or regretting it, or about worrying about the imagined future. But to learn to be here in the golden present moment is where all of the joy, bliss, and power is. So to accept the present moment means to learn fully from every moment. What is this teaching me? What am I growing from? Why is this circumstance coming to me in my life? And to always be nurturing and growing through even the most painful of our circumstances. It's not just in pleasure that we grow. We also grow in adversity and pain. So embracing situations and accepting them and turning them around for the highest well-being. It's the greatest challenge. That's continuing education, personal growth, creative self-expression. Again, doing what you love to do is the optimal for that. Find what nurtures you and do more and more of that. Thank you. Now we start with strategy 11, which is play, laughter, and fun. So we're getting to a lot of good times. So we've done a lot of work. We're getting the body healthy, getting our time, space, getting our work together. And now we come to a very important part, which is play. And I know we mentioned it before, but it's an entirely important aspect of our lives because we ultimately want to make our whole life play. That's it. We want to enjoy every moment of our lives as though it's play. And so sometimes we have to practice playing, And it's very important to do something you really love to do. Have some kind of game, some kind of hobby, something that really nurtures you and get those endorphins splashed out. And that up-levels our entire energy level, our zest for living. Oh God, life is worth it. We get that kind of feeling. Once we have that feeling, we bring that into all the other aspects of our lives, and we use that almost as the motor to power our upward spiral. So don't forget vitamin F. Have a little fun every day. And learn to incorporate fun into your life. And one good way is don't ever think you're an adult. Always stay a child. They say the kingdom of God is with the children. Always be a child until the end. Be playful, be zestful, enjoy every moment, and make time to nurture yourself with fun. All right. If you can get your exercise in at the same time, it's even a double whammy. You can do both at the same time. Make your fun also something that gives you your exercise. Okay. Now we come to our final strategy, which is strategy 12, inner harmony and outer peace. Our inner harmony and peace are manifested outside as peace and harmony also. In a way, this is the culmination of the entire stress reduction program, is the ability to feel, to be aware, to acknowledge, and to recognize our peace in all situations. When our lives are really balanced, when all of these 12 aspects of our lives are really in balance, we naturally feel the peace. Like, don't dream that peace is something outside of you, or that it's something to be attained. Peace is who you are and who you always have been. Claim your birthright. And don't think that it's going to take you 20 years or something to get it. You can have it with just a clear understanding. As soon as you really think, okay, I am peace, I'm going to live that peace, I'm going to manifest that peace in my life, you do it. You change your program. It's something like the computer. The computer may be wonderful, but if you put in an inappropriate software, you get an inappropriate program. Just simply take out one disk, put in another disk. And what we're putting in now is the inner peace disk. Live your life no matter what is happening around you in peace. The whole world could be collapsing, you stay peaceful. And by you being peaceful, you being radiantly healthy, happy, everything else manifests in your life. All right. Now we're going to, instead of ending the program here, I want to make sure that it really clearly manifests in your life. And to do that, we're going to do a concrete 7-step goal realization program. Because it's wonderful to have all of these thoughts and all these ideas, and now you want to implement. For instance, your diet, you may want to really upgrade your diet. So you have to have some kind of tool to really keep you on your mark, to make sure that you really are implementing your dream into your life. Okay? And for that, we offer 7 steps to goal realization. Step number 1 is to write it down. State your goal in clear, short, pithy sentence. 1 or 2 sentences, write it down. Okay? They show as soon as you write it down, make it concrete, your chance is double of actually achieving it. Okay, you write it down. Number 2 is to create an affirmation for it. If it's for diet, say, I naturally crave, enjoy foods that are nurturing to my body on every level. Simple affirmation. I naturally enjoy and crave foods that are nurturing to my body on every level. There you go. It's a natural affirmation. For whatever goal you have, make an affirmation in the present. An affirmation should never be stated as, I will enjoy, because that's something in the future. The future never comes. It has to be in the present moment. I enjoy. I now enjoy only those foods which are naturally good for me. See? Affirmation. Affirmation should also be short, not more than a sentence or 2. Should be something that feels right to you. Find a phrase like that. That's step 2. Step 3 is action steps. The easiest way for letting go of a stress on a certain problem is to write down your goals for achieving that. The best way. Without doing that, the mind will always be worrying and churning about something. As soon as you write down, these are my steps for attaining it, whenever you see the mind churning, you can just let that go and say, look, I'm working on it. These are my steps. Okay? So the way that you can do that is write all of the steps from the beginning to the end of all of the things that you could do to help to attain that goal. All the people you would talk to, all the letters you would write, all the books you would read on the subject. Whatever the steps are for it, write down those steps. That's step number 3. Step number 4 is implement a timetable. Next to each action step, put a time frame. I will complete this by a certain date. I'll have this video done by the end of the year. I'll be eating only vegetarian foods within 6 months. See? You make your time frame for how you'll follow your action steps. Next, and very important, is accountability. Because the mind is a very tricky fellow, and it's very easy for the mind to slide out and say, oh, well, I don't know, I have this goal, but I don't know if I'm going to do it now, maybe later, maybe next year, maybe the year after, somehow we'll get to it. That type of goal will rarely be realized. If you don't have some kind of accountability, that means somebody who you're reporting to, or some way to keep yourself in check time-wise, it's very easy to let things slide. Oh, we'll just watch this program. I have a purpose partner, and it's one of my students, and I would call her up every week. These are the goals that I'm planning to accomplish this week. And if I don't accomplish every one of them, I have a different financial penalty, which I do with her. I say, okay, look, this is really important to me. I have to get this done by the end of the week. If I don't do this, I'll pay you $50. This one I'd like to do, okay, if I don't get this one done, I'll pay you $25. And I do that with the different areas. And then when Thursday night comes, and I'm flipping the Russian roulette through the TV channels, and I find a channel, oh, that's kind of an interesting show, I'll just think, oh, golly, if I watch this show, it's going to cost me $25. Is it worth it? Huh? And they know it's not. And I'll get too busy, and I'll do the job that I had to do. It's very, very important to have a purpose partner and to have some type of accountability for attaining your goals. It gives you the help that you need to keep on target. Accountability. Accountability can be with the carrot and the stick again. Either it can be that you will have a penalty if you don't accomplish something, or it could be that you get a prize, or both. You could say, look, I'll also give myself this prize. I'll buy myself a new shirt, or I'll go out to this movie, or something, if I accomplish this goal. It's good to have both, the carrot and the stick. All right. Accountability is point 6. Point 7 is celebrating incrementally and at the end. It's very, very important that we acknowledge each step along the way of our attainments to our goals, because that will boost our self-esteem and give us the energy to continue our drive forward. Very, very important. Learn to really acknowledge yourself and others for the brilliant accomplishments that you're doing. And even if you don't think it's brilliant, it is. Just your being here on this planet alive is a brilliant feat of nature. That you're able to function every day is wonderful, interact with people harmoniously, give yourself credit every way, and celebrate at the end of each increment. So these are the 7 steps to goal realization. Number 1, stating the goal. Number 2, the affirmation. Number 3, the action steps. Number 4, the time frame. Number 5, possible obstacles and possible solutions. This one we didn't cover yet, but I want to put this in. It's an important thing in planning that we really think about what are the possible obstacles that could come in every situation, and how could we deal with those. And to spend a little bit of time thinking about that will often help us avert problems that come up. So just to think, like, how could I optimize every situation? If you take a piece of paper, think, well, these are possible obstacles that could happen. If this happens, what would I do in that situation? To have some idea of how you would interface with that is an important part also. Number 5. Number 6, the accountability. Number 7 is celebrating increments. And at the end, have a big celebration. So we're coming to the end of this videotape, and I think it's time for us to celebrate. I acknowledge you with respect, and with admiration for your listening and giving yourself the gifts that are offered on this tape. And I really hope that your life is totally fulfilling. Past does not equal future. The past is the past. And no matter what happened in the past, we've learned from that. And now we're going on to a new and brighter future. And to really visualize what we want, to live what we want, to be what we want, to keep our bodies radiantly healthy, keep our minds calm and relaxed, keep our lives useful, optimally useful to the planet, and to have fun and joy amidst all of that is the greatest good that you can do for the planet. We all want to bring peace to the planet. We all want wars to cease. Let your inner mental war cease first. Keep your thoughts beautiful and optimistic and harmonious. Interact with people in a non-warlike way. Bring your own world into peace, your own being, your own health, your communications, your family, and let it spread out from that. And that's the greatest good that we can do when impacting the planet. And I wish you abundant and radiant well-being and joy in the process. Thank you, and aloha.